What's up, everybody? This is Ben with another crypto update, and I told you guys I was going to do one on Bitcoin. I've had a crazy day, so in full disclosure, I've done zero prep for this other than just what's in my head and what I've been watching on the charts for the past few weeks. And I really wanted to point out some things um, to you guys on Bitcoin because we all obviously know how much it affects our alts. I should also tell you that I own zero Bitcoin. Um, I am in all altcoins at the moment and have been for a while. So, from the first time I started talking about things on Twitter and on YouTube and doing videos, um, I had been talking about some levels in Bitcoin that I thought were very important to watch. One of them was this 58 4 kind of zone as being just, and it's just been the nemesis for Bitcoin for weeks, if not months now. The next area of interest was 55K, which is here. And then our next area of interest was 52K, which I don't even have marked on this chart because I have the fib up right now. But these were important for a number of reasons. Lots of action around them, lots of multiple points hit. Someone asked me today on Twitter, how do you make these calls? How did you know that this dump was going to happen or whatever? I don't know anything. I'm just taking data from a chart and putting two and two together and saying there's a good chance that this could happen. It's a way to limit your risk, honestly. TA is subjective, but I've always been a numbers guy since I was a little kid. I've been able to spot patterns very easily in things. And I feel like my brain sees patterns and lines probably differently than other people. So I'm not saying I'm some kind of crazy genius or anything. I'm just saying this is how it works for me. So today we have this crazy candle, right? It comes all the way down to 53, this crazy wick. And this candle, I tweeted out, Bitcoin has, a few minutes to try to save this candle and get above this fib level here. Because if not, our next step down is this green diagonal line, which you guys probably know. If you knew, then you might not know, but I'll tell you in a minute. This is a very long trend support and resistance line for Bitcoin that I think is extremely important. And then if that breaks, 55 is next. If 55 breaks, then we're going to 52, right? So we wicked all the way down to 53, and then somehow we're able to come up and close on this line here, right? We dipped down below, hit 55 again, but somehow closed above. And so here we are. We're retesting that line already just a few hours later. What we could see in this is some kind of double bottom pattern play out. But, I wouldn't be surprised to see this and to see that get rejected off this fib and come down and retest again, and then maybe even retest 55 and have another crazy wick again. Here's what we don't want to happen for all of our sakes. If Bitcoin breaks below this resistance line, it's going to be the first time that it would do that where 55K is under this line, if that makes sense. 55K has always been above this long resistance line, and 55K has always been a spot that Bitcoin has seemed to go and have a lot of relationship with, you could say, on multiple different points. I could zoom out and show you all kinds of them. And we always had this go-to of, well, if 55 breaks, then we have this trend line, right? And we have hit it multiple times. And for the first time, a couple of weeks ago, we actually fell under that trend, which was pretty crazy. But this fib level held, which was the 5. And I was really, really hoping that we were going to go lower and come down to this 618 or this yellow line, which I'll talk about in a minute, that I've also been talking about for months. So here we are right now. In the short term, we'll see what happens with Bitcoin. It is running out of room in this wedge. So we have this area at 58 that it seems to not be able to break or hold. Every time it breaks it, it just falls below, and it's been doing that for months. Below, we have 55K, which we don't have anymore. That's below our main trend line here now. So now we only have this area, right, for Bitcoin to play in. And at some point, something's got to give here. So either we break up and Bitcoin finally has enough juice, after all these attempts to make new highs and to create higher highs and higher lows and continue to move up into higher numbers, or we break down. And if we break down, there's a few things that could happen. We break down and we hit 55, and then we just are in this world, 55, and we come up and we hit our trend line here, and it's resistance now. And the whole thing's going to be about getting above this trend line so we can try to move up. Or 55 doesn't hold and we start a leg down. That is a possibility. Don't throw that out the window. I have said for a long time, and people called me crazy. I don't know why I just did that, but I've had an area circled on my daily chart for Bitcoin since January. And it's a scary number to think of, but it's right here. In NTA world, one of the most and best and strongest things that can happen is to put in a new higher high, right? Here's our high here. Put in a new higher high, and then hopefully a higher low, or even better, to come down and retest the previous higher high. It's such confirmation of, yes, we've broken it. Yes, we hit it and we broke through it and we came back down and we bounced right off of it to start up again. And it's just huge confirmation to say this is no longer resistance. It is support. We've checked it on a high time frame and we are off and going. I was hoping that this one did it. This was back in February, and I remember talking about it, saying we need this to come down and hit here. We need it to. And it didn't. Buyers, there's a bunch of front-running orders here, and it ended up not coming down and checking. It got close, but it didn't do it. And ever since then, Bitcoin has just kind of been doing this thing of not much of anything, honestly. I mean, it put in a higher high and a higher low here, and a higher high, and then now a lower low. But these higher highs were pretty pitiful, in my opinion. Like, they were barely higher highs. It's like it was such a struggle. We were moving up so well, doing these higher highs and higher lows, and getting all these rechecks of support here, coming back down. The only thought that I had, and I said it before, was that this was the initial move, right, off of our previous higher high of around 19, whatever it was. And then this move came down and checked it here perfectly. And then our next move came up, and I wanted it to recheck this high, and it didn't do it. And I said, well, best case scenario after not checking this would be to come down and check this support line. That would be the next obvious place. And this is a high time frame daily, right? So the obvious place would be for it to check here, just like it did here and here, to come down and check here and then go. And that's when we were up here making an all-time high. People thought I was crazy that we were in 6,400 range, and I was saying it needed to come down to $15,000 down. But sure enough, it did. It needed to. And then I also said, if it doesn't hold this level, this green line, then the next and most obvious level of support is still this. It still has not come down and touched this after all these weeks. And I'm telling you right now that we're coming down to a time where Bitcoin has to make a decision, and it is coiling up like crazy. I mean, it's going to get tighter over the next couple of days. It might happen tonight. It might happen tomorrow. Once it starts getting so tight like this, a decision is going to be made, and it's going to go one way or the other. And I personally think that if it goes down, yes, we'll get bounces on these fibs, but I don't give predictions. This is not a prediction. This is me looking at chart information and just kind of sharing my thoughts. All right. So don't use this to go refinance your house and do something stupid. All I'm saying is, if it can't hold this line and it falls through, then all we have are the fibs left. And coins like to just eat up these fib levels. Once they fall through them, they like to go to the next. And so the next real level of support for me is still here. And maybe I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, then we're going up. And in order to go up, we have to put in a higher high. So if we start moving up and everyone's pumped and it's going, don't get too excited until we break 65,000 and go above it and come back and recheck it. Then I'll be excited about Bitcoin. The other thing I wanted to point out was just this is the daily, remember, and look at the price action up and look at the RSI down on the daily. It has been constantly rejected the whole way. I was begging for this, and so were other people, to get into an oversold area, which is the area below this dotted line, if you don't know. When things get oversold, they always see this kind of elbow and a good bounce up. For us to get oversold in a daily scenario would have been great and created tons of momentum and a push up. And we didn't quite make it. So had we made it to here, right, on the price. Had it just dropped to here, to the 618, and hit this high here, it would have put it into an oversold position, and we would have picked up an unbelievable amount of buyers here in the 618 world, and the same people that are looking at this. Listen, if I'm looking at this, there's got to be so many other people that look at this too. I can't be the only person seeing that. So that's my bearish thought. If it goes down, my bullish is that this thing sparks and a bunch of buyers jump in at these high prices and creates enough momentum to come up and break 65,000 and put in a new higher high and go. Now, this video is getting long, so I want to wrap it up. But those are the levels I want you guys to watch for: 58, 55, 52, and to realize, let me go back to the hourly, that Bitcoin is running out of room here on this wedge, and it's been stuck for months between 58 and 52. Now 55 is out of the picture because it's below our trend line. So our wedge is in here. And last night we were kind of here, and I said we might break it, but if we do, I don't think it's going to do anything, and it's going to fall back down, and it's going to affect all your alts. And sure enough, that's what happened. That's not being a fortune teller or anything. That's just looking at the charts and seeing and watching and looking at the patterns, right? So yes, we're getting a bounce now, and we'll probably bounce up and hit this fib. If we don't break this fib and the fib becomes the resistance, then we're going to be playing in this world, this little wedge, which is an even shorter period of time. I expect us to bounce around, break the fib, come back up in this world again, come back down and check here again, and try to play this out and see what happens. But I can tell you, at the end of this, whenever this move happens, it's probably going to be somewhat significant. And if this has, I mean, look at this. If that has a story, I mean, that candle to me has a story here. This giant wick, that is a massive sell-off. That's because it fell below this line, and it fell below 55. And that is a sell for a lot of people because of it. And they sold off. But luckily enough, there was enough buyers here still to push it back up. But how many times can it do that? I don't know. I don't know. So it's just something to watch because it just affects the alts, so bad. Nobody's immune to it. Not even Dogecoin, It took a hit today too, and it did it because of Bitcoin. My algo, which I love, bam, these are dailies. Go to the hourly so you can see even more. Litecoin, of course it did. It does everything Bitcoin does. HBAR, of course it did. I mean, what did we hit today? 24? We were down in 24. I don't want to get into HBAR because it's taking too much time already. I just wanted to show you guys that. So know that these alts react when Bitcoin reacts. I'm not telling you to sell anything or buy anything. I'm just saying watch Bitcoin right now because its wedge is running out of room and it's going to make a move soon, one way or the other. And I don't think it's going to be a small move. I think it's going to be the next probably significant move, whether it's up or down. And your alts are more than likely going to follow. So do with that what you will. Have a good day. Have a good night. Hopefully that helps you out, and we'll see what happens. Like and subscribe if this helps you out. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to tweet. Send me something on Twitter or a question on YouTube. I try to get back to you if I can. All right. Have a good night. See you.